We are talking with Freedom Czar Stafford. Joan Stafford, what's going on here?
Well, we've got a tea party going on today. The Gainesville Tea Party and the Alachua County Republican Party worked together to put this on. So we're going to have some fun today and talk about government.
You can talk to people about the issues. Two here, we're going to play a little music, otherwise. One of the freedoms we're losing is our First Amendment right to free speech. Help me welcome somebody who 5 days a week tells it like it is, whether the politicians like it or not. Help me welcome Mr. Bob Rose, Sky 97.3. Thank you very much for coming out. What a great crowd. What a great day the good Lord has given us. It's gorgeous out here. Give yourselves a round of applause. Hey, is there anybody in the crowd that thinks that slavery is a good thing? No. No, but yet in the founding of our nation, we were involved in that nastiness. But we righted ourselves, didn't we? The founding of our nation, we didn't let women vote. But we righted that, didn't we? Because we knew inherently that there were certain rights that were granted by our Creator. We got it right. We fixed it. We're a nation that's still young. Look at Europe, they're thousands of years old. We're babies. We've only been around a few hundred years. But look around and see what we've done in just a few short 100 years. How were we, a people who weren't necessarily the brightest on the planet, how did we do so well? The good Lord provided us with opportunity. We took that opportunity and broke the enslavement that we began to feel from the British. We wanted to be free, and through that freedom and self-government and not being governed by a king, these opportunities grow. Opportunities and the ability for all of our countrymen to work hard and to gain something. In Europe, you couldn't own land unless you were born into royalty. We changed all that. We gave everybody a chance to own land, property rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, alive and well. So I go back to my earlier question. If we all agree as a people that enslavement is wrong, that everybody should have rights, how did we allow ourselves to get to the point to where the government takes 60% of everything we own? And if you're looking around thinking, I don't pay 60% tax, he must be in a really high tax bracket. He's that rich radio guy. I can assure you, and my boss can attest to it, I'm not rich. It's 60% when you figure your federal income tax, your Social Security tax, your Medicare tax, your state tax. What about your tax on gasoline? All of those taxes, when you combine them, including, remember we had that property thing going on? You don't really own your property, do you? What happens if you don't pay property taxes? Somebody will come and take it away. They'll auction it off and pay off your debt. So you never really even own property. So when you add it all together, we're taxed at about 60%. Can you imagine the people who were at the original Tea Party, what they would think? What about the Founding Fathers? What would they think about us paying 60% of our income to the government? They say, how did you let it get that way? Why did you let it happen? The good news is, you're all here because you're beginning to recognize that. And not just recognize it, and not just talk and complain to your neighbor over the fence with a beer in your hand. You're out here telling everybody else, look, we can make some changes. America is still that shining city on the hill, a beacon of freedom that the rest of the world looks to. Right now, though, that beacon is being a little clouded. We've got a leader who goes around and apologizes
for our greatness
for the United States of America. Why would you want to apologize and feel guilty about being fortunate enough to either be born or to live in the greatest country in the history of mankind? Why would you feel guilty about that? Wouldn't you want to share that message that freedom and liberty leads to prosperity and share that with everybody around the world? Instead of denying it or saying we want to be like Western Europe? Western Europe, like I said earlier, has been around for thousands of years. We're babies. But even as children, we showed them how to do it. They should be emulating us, not the other way around. So we need to get leaders in office who believe that America is still great, and the things that make her great are some of the foundational principles that are being forgotten today. And one of them is, you can't tax people to the point of oppression. There was a world-renowned economist who did a study. His name was Laffer, L-A-F-F-E-R. Look it up, the Laffer curve. There's a point of diminished return where you tax people to a certain point to where business and the economy ceases to grow anymore. We're there. We're there. We're at that point. We're ceasing to grow. So we can do better. The good news is people like you are here. Look around at all the ages of the people.
Yeah, Bob Rose.
Look when you see people who have a few gray hairs, who have been around the block a few times. You know why they're here? They're not here for themselves. They're here for the younger people. They're here for the little kids who are playing in the grass.
Yeah.
They've lived their lives. They've learned from it. They have a great deal of experience, and they know they're going to be okay. They're going to be all right in the future. They've taken care of themselves. They're worried about us. They're worried about our kids and our grandkids. That's why they're here, because they've lived through history. They've seen world leaders before turn things upside down. Before anybody stops, things can happen quickly to pull us down, but just as quickly, we can pull ourselves back up. The warrior spirit of America is still alive. The entrepreneurship is still alive. The can-do spirit. You love America? Yeah. So do I. God bless you and the Tea Party movement. Keep it up. Thank you very much.
Rose, yeah! Oh, Rose! Go find somebody to pay the
You can go up on the street. The speakers are set up so you can hear vocal music.